Gary Nickerson,
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
and this is Outside My Window.
The history of the 211 info line goes back to the 1980s in the USA, and it took 15 years to percolate its way into Canada, with Toronto's service going live in June of 2002. As of October 2020, the whole of Canada, including the territories, have access to 211. 211 helps people navigate the complex network of government and community programs and services quickly, easily, and promises access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in over 150 languages. Across Canada, the service is offered by phone, chat, website, and text. In all cases, 211 confidentially connects people who are seeking support to the right information and services. With us today is Marco Colaiacovo, the new Executive Director for Nova Scotia's 211 service, and he's joining us from his offices in Halifax. Marco, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Quinn.
Now, just case in point, Marco and I used to work together back in the day, about 20 years ago. So, Marco, nice to talk to you again. Now, you've been, you lived in Yarmouth, and you know from experience how hard sometimes it is to connect with different services and different networks of services. So what drew you to 211? You've had a bit of a journey in the last 20 years.
Yeah, my career has been in the support business. So we supporting our customers and supporting different initiatives. It was a draw to 211 because quite honestly, we do meaningful work here. It is something that is 100%, as you mentioned, referral, and we cover across the province. The interactions we have and the advice and the guidance we give people is meaningful work. That's 100% what drew me to 211. I have lived in Nova Scotia most of my life and have volunteered on different boards, and I felt that this was an opportunity and this was an organization that I really wanted to be a part of, just because it impacts all citizens throughout Nova Scotia, not just in one area. We are 100% tip to tip, Yarmouth to Sydney, and all areas in between. That's ultimately what the draw was. And I will tell you, when I got here, one of the things that struck me is the passion that our navigators have. And the navigators are those that are on the phones that answer the calls coming in. They probe and they are compassionate and they provide the best advice and guidance to the callers. It's something, it really is amazing. They've heard it all, they've gone through training. They are 100% able to articulate and to dig in when someone has an issue to make sure that they're covering all potential issues as well. So that's kind of what drew me to 211. I'm glad I made the transition.
Now, when it comes to your navigators, I mean, most people would consider 211, like 411 and other ones, a quote unquote call center, but that's not the atmosphere that 211 projects, is it?
No, not at all. I came from the call center world, and this is a little bit like a call center, only in the fact that we have people in a room answering calls. Other than that, though, it's totally different. We don't mandate a certain average handle time. We concentrate more on providing the correct guidance and referral to the callers. Our team sits together and we encourage interaction and communication and such. And from a perspective of what 211 offers is not so much just the inbound, but the data that we collect as well. So our navigators truly are database administrators to a certain extent, where we use a certain taxonomy to identify the needs so that we can provide the best information possible. So they're not just probing and helping our end user, they're actually updating our database and ensuring that the data is coming in is accurate and is reflective of the situation, so that we can then go use that data and find those solutions, and to further work with different regions or organizations to improve, enhance the services offered.
Now, certainly the services that I might be looking for as a Nova Scotian might be similar to other folks in other geographic locations within Canada, but also probably quite different from somebody, say, in Vancouver or Regina or Toronto. But, how does that allow you to operate independent? I mean, you're working off a database, you've accumulated data over time, but you're sharing it between the provinces as well, I'm sure. So that if I was, quote unquote, a Nova Scotian in the heart of Toronto and I'm looking for some help, I should be able to get that.
You will. You will. And by the way, our website contains the information needed. So if someone were to go on our website, from Toronto or from Alberta even, they could find resources here in Nova Scotia, because our website connects them to it. One thing that you mentioned that I will say is that the unfortunately, the data points and the needs are kind of similar now across different geographies, and even within Nova Scotia, across the different counties. For example, in Yarmouth, for example, in 2023, 42% of all the calls were around mental health, food, and housing. Um, those three are similar to other areas of the province as well, Halifax included, right? And that way we kind of see that across Canada as well, as you know, with the housing crisis across, and inflation causing food prices to increase as well, and the ever-present mental health issues that people have. Those really are the three big ones. And this year, overall in Nova Scotia, mental health overtook food and housing as our number one need. Now, remember, this is 2024, and we're still talking about these things, but the data that we're collecting allows us to understand if it's regional or if it's across. B, understand as well, Quinn, the unmet needs. So we sometimes have, for example, if a shelter is full, right, and there isn't another shelter close by for somebody, we mark that as an unmet need. We now can accumulate and can report on unmet needs. And why that's important is that we work with local communities, local governments, and the provincial government to better understand the needs, but also the unmet needs that people may have. So when I say our database is critical, our database is critical because we are like an early warning system. We're taking calls from people in areas and notating the needs and what have you, um, early, so we can be in front of different organizations and provide the information before it becomes that much of an issue, and we can try and work towards resolving some of that as well.
And I mean, obviously, COVID threw a monkey wrench into everybody's statistics, but there's still those residual effects, and you're feeling it on your end.
Yeah, and I don't know if there is a COVID hangover, obviously, still is. But I will tell you the other pressures that people are experiencing now with housing, with food, with um, um, income, those play a part in that mental health issues. Because remember, our navigators, when they have someone on the phone, they probe to uncover needs and make sure that they've given them all the resources that will help. And it's not just in the resource that they called about. They're gonna probe a little bit, and you see that mental health can be manifested by the other needs as well. And it's kind of an
Cascading effect.
cascading effect, absolutely. That what you can't just solve. you can't just solve mental health and say it's done. It's really a product of other needs as well that do prey on people. They do affect people throughout, and it's that's why that data that I talked about is so critical, because we can at least try and find some degree of root causes and such. And it's not just singular, oh, I must cure mental health. That's not going to happen because the other areas are still at play.
Now, your board of directors, in looking at the composition of the folks that are on your board of directors, it's not unusual to have folks from a wide variety of different industries and different sectors. And you're in that same position as well. How much of an advantage is that to the 211 service to have that kind of diversity in your board of directors?
Yeah, critical. Absolutely critical. Remember, our we're here to serve the citizens of Nova Scotia, and the citizens of Nova Scotia. And by the way, we serve Nova Scotia and PEI, but in the citizens of Nova Scotia and PEI are a diverse group. So if we don't have a board, if we don't have our diversity, equity, inclusion policies nailed down, if we don't have a board that's as diverse as our the people that we support, then we're going to miss something. And that's why when we have our board members obviously have terms, and we're bringing new board members on this year as well. And we looked for diversity. That's one thing we look for in a board member, is that diversity. Both we can look for it from a cultural perspective. We can look for it from a geographic perspective, because it's critical to understand and to have representation from areas like Yarmouth, because they can bring a different perspective to the overall picture as well. So we also have on our board, which is kind of unique, we have leadership from the United Way. As you said in your intro, United Way, the 211 system essentially started with the United Way, and we have always maintained that relationship, close relationship. Uh, we don't report into, or they don't oversee us, but they are a partner of us, and we have a member of United Way on our board. So the board is kind of a barometer as far as our diversity. Uh, and how we support that diverse population in both Nova Scotia and PEI.
Now, people are all about quote unquote accountability and transparency in dealing with the government and other government agencies. And you're not a government agency, I might add, but still, from your perspective, how do you define success? How do you hold yourselves accountable to your customers?
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed and have been a part of in my short tenure here is that we seem to be at sometimes the best kept secret um, in the province. And what I mean by that is I've sat in on meetings with government agencies where they're trying to um, identify resources or build a resource database, different departments. And I said, but we do that. That's exactly what we do. We already have that. So when you ask what's my measure of success, we have a couple things that we're working towards. We one of the critical areas is support. We have to make sure that operational excellence is at play and that we're doing everything we can for our callers. The second one is the visibility and the knowledge of 211 services throughout the province. Remember that the the when people reach out to us, we want more and more people to reach out for not just dire needs, but for other areas as well, which we have available resources for. So we really need to, as part of our measure of success, is to be more known in the province, so that not only individuals but organizations call us if they have a client that is having some degree of issue and they don't know where to turn to. They will call us. They will go to our website, and we can support them as well. So it's really about operational excellence, and it's really about the visibility and the knowledge and the um, engagement of 201 throughout the province is our measures of success.
Now, when you talk about your navigators, what sort of tenure do you have in those positions?
I'll tell you, the navigators tend to stay. We have upwards. We began the 211 Nova Scotia service in 2013, so it's been. We just had our 10th anniversary, and we have navigators that have been here from day one. Our yeah, exactly. Our least tenured navigator is 2 years. Um, uh, this is a very again, I talked about at the beginning, I talked about that meaningful work and the passion that they bring to it. I will tell you that that is part and parcel with the tenure element of it, because when a navigator comes on board, they want to be here. They want to support. They want to help. It's incumbent on us to give them the tools, give them the support and the resources to be successful. They take that at heart. My reason for coming on board 211, the meaningful work and such, is exactly what people tell me they came on to 211 for and have stayed. So, knock on wood, we have a very tenured staff that have gone through extensive training and update training, and just to make sure that we've got all the elements in play.
And that's got to feel good for them as well, to be in a position to not only on the surface make a difference, but historically be able to make a difference, because you're going to rely on that experience down the road when the next person calls that it's in a similar situation.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's where they even we share announcements and articles about different programs throughout, and they listen to that, they watch that, they love to get that information, because it's essentially programs or areas that they service, and they want to know as much about it as possible. So it's really that current event updates and knowledge and understanding that they hold on to and they really use in their day-to-day work life, and they really want to ensure they have all the information at hand.
What has social media done for you as the 211 service? Do you consider that a double-edged sword, or is it a totally positive environment for you to get your words out?
I'll tell you, it's been positive for the most part, Quinn. We use social media uh, to drive the message and to offer some tidbits of information for people. It hasn't been met with any negativity or anything like that. I think that it's a positive tool for us to use, coupled with our other outreach initiatives as well. But we use social media to really get the word out. We're going to enhance our social media presence. We're going to start providing more information per se. And I think it's going to be more of an educational tool for those that follow us. And obviously, as we do our outreach, we'll encourage people to follow us and to like and watch what we post. But we're going to be looking more and more at how little tidbits of information, little nuggets of wisdom, little observations that we have. Again, we utilize our database. We want to enhance that. And our new website, we're launching a new website, knock on wood, next week, and it will have a reporting information section as well, plus an expanded taxonomy for searches as well. So we're utilizing all resources to get that word out.
And your website is easy to remember, 211.ca. How do you miss it, right?
It's you can't get any easier than that. Absolutely. So.
When you look at the different services that you're providing, I mean, we talked a little bit about mental health, food insecurity, housing, and the like. But what surprises you as percolating close to the top as requested services? Is there something there that kind of just pops off the page? I can't imagine why people might be asking for that.
Yeah, not so much surprises me, Quinn, other than saddens me. I'll say that in this day and age, 2024, some of the issues at play are are still there. And I use one. I was listening to calls as part of what I want to do when I came on board, And I will tell you that if I did have one aha surprise moment, it's renoviction is something
Mm.
that is affecting people, and remember what happens is if you're renovicted, you're being pushed out, and in this environment, the housing environment, probably a place close to you is not accessible from a price perspective. So you're maybe pushed out of your geographic area, which means you have now transportation issues and such, and have to find new accommodations, obviously, but new childcare, new everything. So it was as I listened to calls and listened to the conversations, it really was impactful what a renoviction does and what the knock-on effects are and what the displacement actually means to that end user. So if there was a aha surprise, it was that. But overall, I will tell you the housing, food shortages, food banks, all those wonderful things, mental health, obviously, these are the big ones, and it just saddens that in this day and age we still have those issues as top of the heap type of issues.
Yeah, and some of those are not going away anytime soon by the sounds of it either.
Well, it's hard to wave that magic wand and solve for these. Absolutely. So lots of efforts going on across many different organizations and such. But I think that we're going to have those issues for a while to come. Yeah.
I mean, we're heading into quote unquote election season for us here, in that we've got municipal elections in the fall, followed by provincial and federal elections at some point in the next couple of years. And they've staggered them on purpose. And let's assume they go the full distance and we don't end up with a non confidence vote federally or provincially. But with that in mind, how much of an influence for you is an up and coming election? Are you chomping at the bit, worried that possibly a change in government will change the way in which you operate?
Uh,
New
yes and
partners,
no.
new communications.
Yeah, yeah, yes and no. And I think the yes is that, as you just said, new partners, new communication, new people to understand and to have them understand what we do. There's certainly a need um, to continue the outreach, not just for the communities in Nova Scotia, but also the government agencies as well, who if they're working in a silo, they may not know something else is happening. I mentioned earlier that if someone wants to recreate the database that we already have, it's stop, right? We've
Yeah.
got it. All right. And so those from a change in government, change in everything, the anxiety, if you call it that, is that it's new people, new mandate maybe coming in, new direction, and such. The other side tells me that the two-on-one system is such an integral part of what we do on a day-to-day basis and also during any type of disaster and such, that I think that we're well established, well rooted. The people, the players may change, but I think the overall structure remains the same with a change of government. But there's always that that understanding and that ability for a government to change course, and we can't stop that. Obviously, we can just do what we have to do.
Now, I've got some statistics here as well on customer satisfaction. So, based on what I saw in provinces where customer satisfaction surveys were conducted, you've got mid 90s and close to 90s percents of people that would either call again, recommend to a friend, got the information or the referral that they were needed, and were either satisfied or very satisfied overall with 211 service. Where does that do you compare yourself to some of the other services like 411, 511, 811, and the like, or is this just for you and you look at it and go, hey, this is great?
Yeah, we don't really compare, to be honest with you. We offer a service that has a couple of different elements to it, Quinn, and we're just about to launch in the foreseeable future. We're going to launch our external satisfaction survey. And what that means is that we offer someone guidance. We say, well, here are the resources that that would help with the situation are in, and that's an immediate resources there. If someone does a satisfaction survey, we gave them, understood, probed, gave them the um, information that was required. We also are going to implement it down the road where X amount of time later, be it a week, be it 2 weeks, with obviously the caller's permission, a survey will go out and ask, okay, now that you've taken advantage of those resources that we referred to you, was it the proper, did they help? Or did it solve your issue? So when you say, do we compare ourselves with other ones? Not really, because the referrals that we give are not, may not sometimes be known immediately if it's good or bad. It may be after they've researched and reached out to those resources. So we want to capture right after the call and later on down the road so that we can be 100% satisfied that the information we're giving and the guidance we're giving is what is needed. So that is the hope as I walk into this and have that support background, as I talked about. Implementing these kinds of things will really allow us to understand how effective we are and put it into a quantitative number as well.
Now, when you walked in the door for the first day of your tenure, I'm sure you had in mind a few goals and objectives that you wanted to achieve, say within the first 100 days. Everybody likes to talk about the 100-day mark or whatever. So you're about halfway to your 100-day mark. Where are you at?
Great question. When I was coming on board, I offered the position, and I told several friends and family I'm going uh, to 211 as executive director, and I got more times than not. I got a what? Where? Who's that? So part of my goal coming in, a big part of my goal coming in to this is that outreach I talked about. So within the 100 days, I am reaching out and talking to folks like you that are covering a portion of the province. I'm going to Bridgewater on Thursday to do an event. I'm speaking in Amherst the day after. So or next week as well, coming back down to Yarmouth next Saturday. So my goal when I came in for the first 100 days was to get out there and to interact with groups in different areas of the province, understand what they think of 211, understand if there's items that they would like us to improve on, and just spread the word and make sure that we are working closely with our partners across the province.
Are there areas of service that are on your radar forthcoming? Or do you feel that your menu of services that you're offering right now or offering referrals into right now is about as complete as it gets?
Well, I'll tell you, it's complete. We have over 7,000 programs that we are able to refer people to throughout the province. We are enhancing our website, like I said, where it's going to be, the navigation is going to be that much more crisper, and the information will be packaged a little bit better than it is today. We're actually going to put on our website some of that data that I talked to earlier, so that you'll be able to see the needs for a different region and unmet needs and all these things I talked about, so that it's not a secret. We're transparent as possible. So when the ability for us for someone to reach us is is there. We take 75,000 calls a year in 2023, 485,000 website hits. We have email, we have text, we have we have hearing impaired as well, YYT. We also are engaging languages of 100 plus. And we're going to add down the road, we're working through this right now, Mi'kmaq as well, because that is a portion of the population that we don't have language translation for. So we're looking to do that. So from a purely the channels people will reach us, we have them. We're just enhancing as we go.
Excellent. And so, on your immediate radar, you mentioned a couple little travel pieces that you're going to be doing in the next little bit. What else is on your radar for the up and coming months that people can be on the lookout for?
Well, I think the website's big for us. We are. I encourage people to utilize it, navigate through it. We are looking at implementing an app as well, so that you can download an app on your phone and you can find the resources through an app. That's coming down the road. We're working with some developers now to scope it out to really make sure that we've got everything we need, um, and and that we've actually now just put someone in PEI as well. By the way, so we're hiring someone in PEI. So now we've got physical coverage in Nova Scotia and PEI. We do support both Nova Scotia and PEI. So those are kind of some of the enhancements we're doing near term to really drive this success and drive the effectiveness of our support.
Excellent. So, for you personally, on the last half of your first 100 days, what's on your personal radar as keys for success in the next little bit?
Yeah, what I do is it's monumental. I think I use that term when I describe what we do and what the mandate is. And still drinking from the fire hose, to be expected after 2 months in. From my perspective, though, I want to build a partnership. So not only outreach to the different areas and different um, to have a knowledge and reach out to citizens in different areas, make sure they understand 201. But I want to work on partnerships with different organizations and different government departments as well, so that A, they not only understand what we do, but B, we can specifically support some of those initiatives that they do and how that loops back to what we can offer, because we are that central repository of needs. So my goal as we spread the word is to reach out and really enhance those partnerships with the organizations, with government agencies. Again, just to enhance the service, enhance how can we support even better than we are today.
Marco, thanks a lot for chatting with us. We'll definitely be on the lookout for any of your community outreach pieces. And if anybody wants to reach out to you directly, via the website, right?
Absolutely. Go to the website 100%, and all the contact information and all the resources you'll need are there. We encourage everybody to continue to look at us, and if you do need some support, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. It's easy to remember, 211.
I'm Gary Nickerson,
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
and this has been Outside My Window.